Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's Natural Living Workshop with community herbalist Lily Cunning. We're very excited that she's with us today. We just love her presentations, and she's going to be talking about herbal pain relief. Welcome, Lily.
Hi there. Good to see everybody this morning. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share my screen. So we're going to be talking about herbal pain relief and what that means, because pain is a symptom, right? We often have been trained in sort of modern biochemical medicines
I give up.
way of thinking.
I give up. This is fucking ridiculous. I can't do this.
Uh-oh.
I just muted her.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, everybody. So anyway, pain is a symptom, and it's a symptom of something bigger. And so as a holistic practitioner, I not only treat symptoms, but I look for the cause of things, because unless you eliminate the cause of the pain, it will come back, right? And so temporary fixes, which I'm not devaluing symptom management, because when you have pain, you don't want to be in pain anymore. Like steroids, for example. Steroids are great at masking pain. But unless you have a plan in place while you're taking the steroids to eliminate the root cause of your pain, it will come back. And often we overdo it. We want to have our regular lives while we're experiencing pain, and that you're ignoring the pain signal, right? So one of the things that I want to say to you is that pain is a message that you should not ignore. It is a message for your body, from your body, telling you to stop doing something, or hey, pay attention to this, or hey, there's something wrong. And for you to just manage your symptoms and make the pain go away so that you're doing everything that you've always done is a way of continuing a problem, whether that's a condition or an injury. What we need to do is to get at the root cause of your pain so that we can actually improve your physical condition and have that pain message go away. I will tell you a story that when I was working at a company that kind of thought of itself as having a mission like a nonprofit, there was a big culture of overwork there. And I did that, and I destroyed my body. I ended up being on workers' comp because of all of the computer work that I did. And I ended up with carpal tunnel, tendonitis, frozen fascia in my back, and a cascade of problems. And, I started working for that company, going to the gym 4 times a week, riding my bike to and from work. And I left not even being able to cut my own food, or drive a car, or do a lot of things. And it was miserable for 2 years. I spent 2 years working to get functional again. I saw 4 practitioners a week on my workers' comp. I was in constant pain, and it was horrible. So I am here to tell you, do not work through the pain. I was sort of brought up in a, work hard to get ahead kind of mentality. And, you just kind of work through that pain. But I am here to tell you, you should not do that. You should definitely pay attention to your pain, because once you start to experience it, that's when you have a better chance of getting out of a chronic pain cycle. I will tell you that acute pain, when it comes on suddenly, and you're like, oh, I'm in pain all of a sudden, is more easily treatable than chronic pain. If you are living with a condition that is pain all the time, there are mechanisms in your body that are working against you to eliminate that pain. The systems sort of need a big reboot when it's in this pain cycle. Chronic pain makes the body release too much cortisol, which spends your adrenal glands, which adversely impacts the immune system, the nervous system. And those issues need to be addressed when you're treating a chronic pain issue. And the body's pain system is plastic. You know, we talk about the brain being plastic. Well, the pain system is too. And it's easily molded by that pain to cause more pain. Because you're not paying attention, right? You're continuing to do the thing while you're in pain. So it's like, oh, more pain, more pain, more pain. You're not listening. It's like, you know, when you're in an argument with someone and you're just talking reasonably and then they're just not listening and you end up getting louder and louder and louder, right? Not that yelling helps, but that you feel like you're not being heard. Well, that is your body when you're dealing with chronic pain. A metaphor that's often used to describe this process is an alarm being continually reset to be more and more sensitive. And at first the alarm is triggered by, you know, something that it should be triggered by, like an animal outside or something. And then it gets triggered by the breeze. And then for no apparent reason, it just starts ringing, you know, randomly or continuously. Nerves appear to recruit other nerves when we're looking at chronic pain issues. To, you know, be in this chronic pain windup. And then eventually the entire central nervous system gets involved. We want to stop that cycle before it happens. And if it is happening, then there needs to be a holistic approach of dealing with the underlying symptoms while you are dealing with your symptom management. Research at the University of California, San Francisco has shown that prolonged injury and pain, progressively deeper levels of pain are activated within the spinal cord the longer you go being in pain. And most chronic pain is not in the muscle, bone, or tissue. It's actually in sort of that invisible hydra of nerves. Not all chronic pain is neuropathic, but a lot of it is. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about inflammation. We're going to talk about muscular pain, and the very real pain of a broken heart too, because that is real. We want to make sure that, again, you're treating the root cause of your problem while we are treating your symptoms. This class is on the pain relief, which is symptom management. But I want to tell you that to be most effective, you need to seek a practitioner who is going to get to your root cause. So let's move on. Yeah. So I ask a lot of questions when somebody comes to see me with pain, right? How long have they been in pain? You know, has it progressed? Has it increased? Has it spread to different parts of the body? Did it start with an illness, or did it start with an injury, or did it start with no apparent trigger? What systems are affected by the pain? Is it that, you know, you are in such pain in the middle part of the day that you can't eat, that you're nauseous? Or is it that, you know, once the pain had gone for like a month, you just kept getting sick? It's really important to know what other systems are affected other than just being in pain. You know, the other thing is, what kind of treatment are we going to do for that pain? What kind of symptom management? Sometimes people are like, oh, just give me something to rub on the area that hurts. That's a topical. But it depends on where the pain comes from. And as an herbalist, you know, as a holistic practitioner, I'm going to look at the root cause. And if I think the root cause needs an internal as well as a topical, I'm going to suggest that. And I want to know if it's neuropathic, if it's inflammation, which is an immune system response, or if it has to do with hormonal, which is an endocrine system response. There are a lot of different reasons that you could be in pain, and to be effective, we need to sort of be detectives and figure out what that is. That's why my intake form is like 20 minutes to fill out. It takes a while. But let's start looking at some lifestyle changes that you can make in addition to some herbal supplements at the end. So we're going to go through diet, nutrition, movement, activity level, sleep, and stress management. And then we're going to talk about supplements and herbs in particular. Making sure that you're making space for all of these things is going to help you restore balance. So pain is a signal that something's off balance, right? And it often can be weighted so heavily that that's the only thing that exists for you is that pain. And sometimes we use supplements like herbs to help tip the scales back while we are doing all of these lifestyle changes to make sure that you are living a more balanced life that is going to lead to less pain moving forward. So diet. Let's talk about diet. There are things that you should avoid if you have inflammation in your body. And those are all the things you think they are, right? They're hamburgers and French fries and soda, right? Going through the drive-through is an exercise in inflaming your body. Refined carbohydrates like a hamburger bun, French fries or other fried foods, sodas or other sugary things, red meat, sugary snacks, so don't get that hand pie when you're at the McDonald's drive-through, and of course margarine, shortening, and lard. So those in particular are the ones that are used in fast food restaurants because they're cheaper than butter, or pressed oils, solvent extracted shortening, and all of that. So avoid those things when you are feeling particularly inflamed. And I am keenly aware of what it is like to live with chronic pain and not feeling up to cooking for yourself. I totally understand that. And I know that it's so much easier to just go through the drive-through. But what I'm telling you is that when you do that, you actually create more pain for yourself. So an anti-inflammatory diet includes all kinds of things that you would expect, right? So green leafy vegetables, all your brassicas like kale and collards and chard, but also spinach, olive oil that is not cooked, so like using it in salad dressing, that's a nice thing. Tomatoes are really great. Nuts like almonds and walnuts. So here is what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning one of those delicious big salads where you've got your greens and you've got some tomatoes in there, and you make a vinaigrette dressing and you toast some nuts to put in there for crunch. Maybe you put some fatty fish on there. I always have wild caught sardines in a can, and I put those on top of my salad. You can put some fruit in that salad. I mean, that thing looks amazing. So when you are inflamed, salad is something that doesn't require a ton of work to prepare. It's just throwing everything together. So one of the things that I do, because I live with chronic inflammation and pain, is that I do prep. On a day that I feel good, I prepare things that I can grab and go when I'm feeling less like cooking or I have a really busy day. And that helps me to stay healthier. It has taken a long time, but I have gradually changed my life over to cooking almost all of my own food or having it home cooked if I don't cook it. And not eating out at restaurants, not going through the drive-through very often at all. And it has meant that a lot of my inflammation has gone down. I used to live with chronic tinnitus. And now, like, I have it when I get to the end of my range of motion. When I twist my neck, it flares up a little bit, but that is so much better because it's an inflammatory issue. All of these muscles were so inflamed that it was pressing on the nerve and causing that ringing. And now it has subsided to the point where it's just at my end of my range of motion, and I'm continuously working on that by eating healthy, by doing proper movement, by taking anti-inflammatory herbs, which we will get to. Movement for everybody. I know that when you are in pain, the last thing you want to do is get up and exercise. I will also tell you that when you find the right exercise for you and you bite the bullet and you do it, you're going to feel better afterwards. The thing that I struggled with when I was dealing with my getting better, it took me 2 years of 4 practitioners a week and finding some movement that I could actually do. And so I listed some things that I have tried with a chronically in pain body that you might want to try. So aqua aerobics, I joined the Y, and it was me and a bunch of old ladies in the pool doing aqua aerobics. And we had, like resistance floaties and weights and things that we did aqua aerobics. And honestly, it was wonderful. I had such a good time. I would also swim, although I'm not one of those people that likes doing laps. It just seems very pointless. I'm like, oh God, another one. I'd much rather do aqua aerobics, but some people really like swimming and doing laps. And that was also very gentle on my body because the water supports your body a little bit and the impact of things is not as profoundly felt. I also took walks. And for me, I needed to take walks in the city at the time. So sidewalk walks or going to like an outdoor mall and just sort of doing window shopping. But I would set a timer and I would do my walking. Chair or modified yoga. For me, yoga did not work because of the nature of my injuries. Holding a specific posture inflamed my injuries more than continuous movement. So I tried it. It didn't work for me, but it works for a lot of people, depending on the nature of your pain. But what did work for me was Qigong and Tai Chi, and those are movement modalities. So I do Qigong still as many days of the week as possible. Today I'm doing cancer support community, so I'm not doing Qigong, but I did it yesterday morning and I'm doing it tomorrow morning. I try and do it first thing in the morning so that I am stretched out for my day. No matter what hits me, no matter what comes my way, I have stretched and I have focused, and it's also a mindfulness practice. And that is also very helpful for people that are living with pain. And stretching, any kind of stretching, like Qigong and Tai Chi are obviously stretching, and so is yoga, but any kind of stretching that you want to do. And, you know, focusing on the areas that you need to stretch out the most, obviously. But I am a big fan of whole body when you are living with chronic pain, because you get to focus on something else in your body, right? And you don't neglect other things that are going okay and focusing only on the thing that isn't going okay. Movement will lessen your pain, even if it's uncomfortable at first. It also, the thing that I have been so excited about is doing the same few routines in Qigong for, you know, many, 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 many months. I'm able to track my progress. I have a greater range of motion. And I know this because I have done the same, you know, 8 pieces of silk brocade sequence for months now. And I know I can bend lower. I can, you know, touch the floor with the whole back of my hand now. I can, you know, reach up and not hear my shoulders go crunch, crunch, crunch. Like there's progress there. And it's very exciting to see that happen when you're doing the same discipline day after day, week after week. So that helps you too. Sleep hygiene is also super important when you are in pain. You need more sleep, not less. And I know that sometimes pain can keep you from getting a good night's sleep. So I have some tips for you. First of all, monitor how much sleep you're actually getting, because you need 6 to 8 hours consistently. And you can make that up in naps if you have a bad night. So make up those deficits, create a routine that you stick to every night to wind down. Same bedtime each night. First of all, don't let it fluctuate, and build up to that moment where you get in bed. Create a ritual, create a routine that can include a lot of different things, baths or aromatherapy or a nice nervine sedative tea. And I'll get into what nervine sedatives are in a minute, or warm milk. They can all help you cue the body physically to wind down and reduce the pain so that you can fall asleep. You should also avoid certain things as part of your sleep hygiene. You want to avoid caffeine after 3 p.m. And I know that that is brutal because 3 p.m. is around the time where I'm just like, I want a nap, but you still have to be at work. So, you know, figuring out how to avoid caffeine after a certain time and avoiding screens. And when I say screens, I mean those screens that have like televisions and tablets and computers and smartphones. There are some e-readers that are backlit properly so that they are lit like a book, and those are not the ones I'm talking about, but almost every other screen, you want to avoid it for an hour before your bedtime, because they stimulate your central nervous system and your brain in such a way that it's really hard to get your brain to get into the proper brainwave pattern that facilitates sleep. It just makes you manic. And I'll tell you, keeping your mobile phone charged on your nightstand and using it as your alarm clock, I am guilty of that. And what happens is I wake up with a start and I, have a thought that is keeping me awake. And what do? I look at my phone. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh my gosh. And then what happens? I'm awake. So I start scrolling, right? And then all of a sudden it's 5:30. I've lost an hour and a half of my sleep and I'm not great the next day. So having a real alarm clock and not using your phone as an alarm clock is really important if you have a history of insomnia or staying asleep, right? And make your bedroom a dark, quiet sanctuary. Get blackout curtains. Don't keep your phone in there. Do not have a TV in your bedroom. It is a sanctuary for sleep and rest. Have books there. Have a little lamp that has an auto turn off, right? So that when you fall asleep reading your book, it turns off automatically for you and then you stay asleep. All different kinds of things to help you get that rest that your body so desperately needs when it's constantly fighting these pain signals. Stress management. Stress will kill you. And I know that that is hyperbole, but it's actually not. They have detected people who live with chronic stress live shorter lives. And they have more health problems and more pain. The best way to fix stress is to eliminate it at the source. And I know that that is easier said than done in many cases, but you need to figure out what is stressing you out. Is it your job? Is it a relationship? Is it your living situation? Think about what is stressing you out and think about changes that you can make and conversations that you can have that will possibly be uncomfortable in the short term, but in the long term, help alleviate some of that stress. Do you need to go to part-time? Do you need an assistant? Do you need to have a conversation with someone who is constantly like amping up your adrenaline, and saying, hey, actually, I'm going to put up some boundaries here. And when we are talking to each other, I need you to do it this way. Or, hey, I don't want to talk about money except for one time a week, because talking about money constantly stresses me out. Figure out what is stressing you out and try and work on eliminating that happening perpetually. Because our fight or flight response was meant to run away from lions. It wasn't meant to be constantly activated all the time. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Now let's get to some supplementation. So the first two that I have here are not herbs, but they are so worth your while. Fish oil and vitamin D supplementation. So let me tell you that fish oil, here, let me get to my little talker. Where'd it go? There it is. So yeah, let's see. Oops, sorry, I lost my place because I was just talking and not going around on my thing. Here we go. Fish oil is, according to many doctors, sort of the cleanup hitter of all the supplements. There's strong evidence that it helps with a lot of different conditions, from cardiovascular problems to depression to asthma. Fish oil eases inflammation and pain caused by many chronic conditions. So I'm a big fan. And no, there is no real substitute for fish oil. Like, you can take vegan supplements like flax oil, but they are not the same. The balance of the different omegas in fish oil is unique. And honestly, if you're eating fatty fishes that have these oily omega compounds in them, omega-3 fatty acids, that's also great, right? I try and eat that kind of fish at least once a week. I live landlocked though, and I bet you all do too, living in Ohio, and getting delicious, yummy seafood is not always the best. But see what you can do. Like I said, I have wild caught sardines in a can. And when I'm out and I'm treating myself, I will treat myself with something like salmon as opposed to a burger. So fish oil is great. Vitamin D. So there are a ton of studies on vitamin D. It is way more important than we ever thought. It helps with increased levels of chronic pain. It is even helped people who are on opioids for pain. So honestly, up your vitamin D, and you can actually take more. It used to be that they thought, there was only so much you should take per day. They're finding that we need far more than we actually thought. So for me, I take vitamin D supplementation from October to March when the sky is all gray and we're not getting enough vitamin D being outside. And then, during the summer, I have enough vitamin D from sun. But because I am outside a lot. If you're not outside, you might want to supplement. But when I take it, I take anywhere from 5 to 10,000 IU a day. That's a lot, right? But that amount will not poison you. So a lot of doctors are now starting to check the vitamin D levels of their patients that have chronic pain. It helps with fibromyalgia. It helps with other kinds of chronic pain, including autoimmune pain. So I highly recommend both fish oil and vitamin D to all my clients that have chronic pain. There are also some foods that you should think about when you are dealing with chronic pain. Let me go to, where is it? Where's the foods? I had a list. There we go. Different kinds of berries like strawberries, blueberries, cherries, and oranges are really fantastic at eliminating pain. They have compounds in them that are anti-inflammatories. So anthocyanins are what is in cherries, for example, and they block inflammation and they inhibit pain enzymes. So who doesn't love cherries, right? Go get them. They're in season right now. Get them while they're in season, freeze some, and you'll have them year round, and you can put them in your smoothies. You can, eat them as is when they're in season. Definitely, they're said to have the most anti-inflammatory content of any food. So cherries, get them while they're good, right? Now is the season. The other things, the dark leafy greens, if you're just eating romaine lettuce salads, you're missing out. There is a kale Caesar salad that I totally miss at what's that pizza place in Clintonville on High Street? Harvest, right? Harvest has this kale Caesar salad, and you can get it with, so it's made with kale, and you can get it with fresh sardines on it. So that's a win, right? For all these anti-inflammatory foods. That restaurant has an amazing salad that you can eat while you're there. And no, I'm not getting paid by them. Just saying. It was a delicious salad. I used to live down the road from them, and oh man, it was so great. But let's get into some herbs, because we're talking about herbal pain relief. So there are different categories of herbs that you should know about. So nervine tonics. So a tonic is something that strengthens a system and makes it more resilient. That's what tonic means. And a nervine tonic, also called a tropho-restorative, they're the most important contribution that you can make to your everyday. So one of those is oats. And all oats are the same. So oatmeal, oat milk, avena sativa oat is a nervine tonic. The more you have it in your system, the better your nervous system is strengthened and more resilient. So definitely add oats to your diet, but you can also take oats. I like to tincture oats when the little seeds are at their milky stage. Really fantastic nervine tonic. There are also some others that you can look at, and Darlene is going to send you a handout as well as this presentation after the presentation is over, and it will list them, but feel free to take notes if you need to. Brahmi, borage, gotu kola, blue vervain, periwinkle, and St. John's wort are all nervine tonics. Now, I will put a word of caution out. If you are on any SSRIs or any herbal, or I'm sorry, any hormonal birth control, or some other drugs, like a lot of the HIV cocktails for PrEP, you should not take St. John's wort because it does a lot of the same things and will unbalance you. So if you ever have any questions about specific pharmaceuticals and herbs, you can always email me. I am happy to let you know what modern pharma knows about those things. But nervine tonics, you can't go wrong because, again, they're strengthening the nervous system, which allows that pain cycle to start getting reduced. The other term that nervines have, well, there's a couple, nervine relaxants or sedatives. So these are the things that you take to calm down and also to reduce pain signals. So lavender is a nervine relaxant. So are hops. So having a nice beer is good. Lemon balm, chamomile, all those lovely teas that people drink to calm down. Those are nervine sedatives. And chamomile also has the advantage of being an anti-inflammatory as well. Now, I'm not talking about those crappy bags that you buy at the supermarket. When you buy tea in the supermarket and it's already made in bags, the plant matter is so finely chopped up to fit in those bags that it is oxidized. It has lost all its potency. I'm talking about going and getting chamomile flowers that you buy from like an herbal distributor. They are bigger pieces, much more potent, preserved at the height of their potency. You know, Mountain Rose Herbs is a really wonderful company in Oregon that specializes in sustainable herbs for people. You can buy as little as 4 ounces of an herb, but many, many pounds as well. When you find the nervine sedative that is your particular jam, I always find that, you know, testing out different nervine sedatives and finding out the one that really works for your body. Everybody's biochemistry is a little different. Finding the one that really makes you feel good is worthwhile. So invest in like a little bit of each and figure out, or maybe create a blend once you figure out the ones that work for you. Passion flower, they're beautiful. Maybe grow them because they're really beautiful if you have a trellis. Or linden, if you have a linden tree growing nearby, getting those flowers at when they bloom, fantastic nervine sedative. So those are things that will help you avoid pain signals and reduce pain signals over time. You're also going to want to avoid nervine stimulants, like the one that I'm drinking right now, coffee. Yum. So all kinds of caffeine. So cola nut, coffee has caffeine. Camellia sinensis or tea, black tea, green tea, those all have caffeine. Those are nervine stimulants. They stimulate the, I mean, that's why we take them, right? For give us a little pep in our step. Well, it also increases nerve signals in the body. And if you're living with pain, it's going to increase those too, right? One of the things I used to do when I was a menstruator was avoid coffee during the first couple days of my menstrual cycle because it would just make me cramp. Like it was not comfortable and I was cranky, but I was also not crampy. So that was good. Other types of herbs that are beneficial to people living with chronic pain. Number one, adaptogens. And if you don't know what this word means, I encourage you to look up and do some research on adaptogens. Now, adaptogens sort of came into Americans' common knowledge during the 80s when the Russian Olympic team kicked our butts at everything. And there was like a scandal and they're like, oh, they're doing drugs, they're doping. No. They were doing adaptogens, specifically one called Eleuthero, formerly called Siberian ginseng. And what it did was it created incredible stamina, really great recovery times for small injuries, helped with insomnia and sleeplessness, boosted their physical endurance. Not illegal, not by any stretch. So they were all taking this during their training and during the Olympics, and they kicked everybody's butt. They were great. So things like Eleuthero are adaptogens. Now, adaptogens help you cope with stress and change, and each one also does a couple other things besides working on your adrenals. For example, holy basil or tulsi is a delicious tea. It is an Indian herb, and it's one of the most important adaptogenic herbs to come out of India. It not only helps restore overall health and vitality, giving you a softened reaction to stress, but it also helps balance blood sugar. So people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic, Tulsi's your friend, and it is delicious. I like to make Tulsi rose tea, just rose petals and Tulsi leaf. It tastes delicious, and it's like a hug in a cup. It's emotional support, it's body support. It just makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. So I'm a big fan of Tulsi. Schizandra berries are Chinese medicine. They are called the 5-flavor herb. In Chinese medicine, there are 5 flavors, and Schizandra berries have qualities of all 5, which makes it a supreme tonic for everything. Because in Chinese medicine, you eat to incorporate all 5 of those flavors to have a balanced diet and a balanced life. Schizandra has all 5, so it goes into a lot of Chinese medicine formulas. So folklore says it calms the heart, it quiets the spirit, it's stimulating to the central nervous system without excitation. So in other words, it's not a nervine stimulant, but it does increase focus and stamina of the nervous system. It helps with insomnia, it supports immunity. It's just a fabulous herb. Everyone I know with a chronic issue, whether that's chronic pain or a chronic illness, or they're recovering from a chronic illness like cancer or an autoimmune disease, can benefit from some adaptogen. And I like to pair different adaptogens with different people based on their constitution and their makeup and their symptom manifestation and where they are in time right then. I don't take the same adaptogens all the time. It depends on what I'm going through and what my body is like. I change the ones that I'm relying on. Ginseng is another adaptogen that a lot of people have heard of. For a while, Asian ginseng was considered like a panacea for everything. But the American ginseng has actually tested higher on many markers for medicinal and health qualities. And it grows here in the United States. Now, with that said, people overharvest it and it is threatened. So you need to make sure that where you're getting your ginseng is a sustainable source so that we preserve this important plant for future generations. The Mountain Rose Herbs site that I mentioned, they only have sustainable ginseng. Their company, if they carry something, it's because it was either organically cultivated or ethically wildcrafted. So that's why I recommend them for you to get different kinds of herbs and fungi and things like that from. Speaking of fungi, reishi mushroom, one of my very favorite medicinal mushrooms. It's called the mushroom of immortality in Chinese medicine for a reason. It is fantastic. And it's got a calming and strengthening effect on the nervous system. It's an immunomodulator, meaning that it's going to find the best immune response. So if you have an autoimmune disease where your own body is attacking certain systems, reishi is your friend. It's going to help your body make better choices. We definitely like reishi for people with chronic pain. So alternative to NSAIDs. So NSAIDs are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin, ibuprofen, acetaminophen. But the problem is that relying on those can cause some health problems. It can cause liver damage or stomach damage if you take too much too often. And so there are alternatives that you can do in the moment for those acute pain situations, like devil's claw, cat's claw, willow bark, or meadowsweet. Willow bark and meadowsweet are where we originally got aspirin from in the first place. They're high in salicylic acid. They're going to help with that analgesic pain response. The other thing that I do every day, so I mentioned that I'm taking coffee. Well, guess what? It's in my coffee. Turmeric. So I make a golden milk with turmeric, black pepper, ginger, and honey, and I put it in milk. Now I don't use dairy milk in mine because a lot of people are lactose intolerant in my house. So the one that I'm using right now is in hemp milk, but you can put it in oat milk, soy milk, whatever, or dairy milk. And I use that instead of creamer in my coffee. So I get my golden milk every day as a food. So I get that benefit of turmeric. And I'll tell you, if I forget to make a quart of golden milk at the beginning of the week so that I have it in my coffee, by the end of the week, I can start feeling it in my fingers. They feel stiffer. My knees start to get creaky. I love turmeric. It is fantastic. Ginger is in my turmeric tea paste as well because it helps with pain response, but it also is a circulatory enhancer. So it's getting all of those good phytochemicals around my body where it's needed, all those anti-inflammatory chemicals. Helps push it through the bloodstream to get it where it needs to go. If you've got muscle cramps or soft tissue damage, cramp bark, valerian root, comfrey, either leaf or root, or arnica are really great to help with soft tissue injuries. Arnica is something that you don't take internally unless it's homeopathically prepared, but there's lots of topicals. After I was in a car accident and I had like bruising across me from the seatbelt, and like it just felt like terrible inside in my torso, I used arnica cream, and they use it all over the world, and it accelerates healing in a way that has been proven over and over in scientific studies. So I definitely recommend arnica if you have soft tissue injuries, and that includes recovering from surgery. Arnica is super helpful. And then those circulatory herbs that help get all of that good herbal medicine around. I mentioned ginger. Turmeric is also one of them. Licorice root is another, and so is cayenne. All those hot, spicy peppers get your blood pumping. There's a reason you sweat when you take them. So those are some herbs and supplements for pain and inflammation.
Lily, before you go on, there's a couple of questions in the chat. The first one is, how much fish oil do you recommend?
It depends on your body mass and your metabolism. So I would start with the dose that's recommended on the supplement that you're taking, because each one has a different amount of milligrams in it, and they may be compounded or not. So I would start with the dose that's recommended on there. If you feel like you need a little more, it's not going to hurt you. You can always add a dose during the day, or add a second pill, during the dose. But I would start with whatever the manufacturer recommends first.
Okay. And then it says, will you provide your golden milk recipe in the handout, please?
It's not in the handout, but I can definitely email it to Darlene, because I guess I sent her the wrong handout. So it is, just for those who are interested, it is 2 parts powdered turmeric, 1 part powdered ginger, an 1/8 of a part of black pepper, all powdered, suspended in honey until it makes a paste. And then I use that paste to create golden milk. And it takes less than 5 minutes for a week's supply. You can either do it with an immersion blender, or you can do it on a stovetop in a pan. I like the immersion blender, so I'm not heating up anything and losing any of that property of that honey, because I use raw local honey, and I want all of those enzymes and amino acids still in my honey, because there are medicinal properties to that. The other thing is, here Haven Herbs has turmeric tea paste. We already have it ready, and it comes in 3 sizes. You can just take a spoonful and put it in with an immersion blender. that's what I use. Yeah. What was the other question?
Oh, that answers Cindy's question about the recipe. And then there was a question about, is turmeric or ginseng shown in the slide?
The one root that you saw when on the supplement slide,
Yes.
That is turmeric. And that golden color kind of gives it away, right? We're talking about the yellow turmeric, not the white turmeric. When you are taking turmeric supplements, number one, it's better to just use the root, grate it, and do it yourself. Number two, if you're getting a preparation, make sure that it's prepared properly. And the reason that ginger and black pepper are in my formula is because turmeric by itself is really good for you, but it's not as absorbable by the body unless you combine it with some other things. So the curcumin that you want for those anti-inflammatory properties pairs up with the piperine and the black pepper, and it makes it thousands of more times absorbable by your body. Just that synergy together. So you want to make sure that if you're taking a supplement, it's properly prepared and it's not just one of those quick, jumping on that turmeric trend kind of thing. And the supplements that you take that are food are going to be way more valuable to you than the ones that you take as pills. Now I say that knowing that that's how you take fish oil normally, unless you want to gag down the liquid. However, when you are, drinking a tea, that is food. When you are, eating turmeric in Indian food or making it in golden milk, that is food. And your body recognizes it as food and is going to be able to break those things down and process it better. Often when we take like multivitamins or mineral supplements and they're in those either compressed chalky tablets or they're in a capsule or whatever, a lot of times we're wasting our money. And it goes in and then out, and our body doesn't get the full benefit. The best diet that we can recommend is one where you get your nutrients from your diet. So food is medicine, medicine is food. That's what I recommend.
And there's a question, what do you think about turmeric pill supplement?
I'm not a big fan of taking pills for supplementation, honestly. I think that number one, you have to make sure that it's formulated in a way that isn't just turmeric, that it has piperine and black pepper in it. And number two, if it's a curcumin supplement, what they've done is they've sort of isolated that compound and concentrated it. And people who take too much curcumin by itself without the rest of the turmeric often get diarrhea. So I personally am a big fan of eating turmeric, drinking turmeric, but not necessarily taking pills. I take very few pills in my life. I try and get it through my food and my herbalism.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Lily that we haven't had a chance to get to yet? You're welcome to unmute or put the question in the chat.
For sure. And I also just want to put out there that if you ever have any questions at all, feel free to email me. My personal website, lilycunning.com, is where my clinical practice lives and where I teach out of. Haven Herbs is the apothecary that I co-own. It makes, ready-made products that you can buy off the shelf. Either one, you can reach out to me directly, and I am happy to answer any and all questions about that, because this is why I do the cancer support community classes, to make sure that people have access to real information. Not everybody wants to spend their days, reading the latest nutritional study or study on herbs. I will do that because I'm a geek that way. And then I'm able to answer your questions.
And we greatly appreciate you doing that, Lily. We always appreciate you sharing your wealth of knowledge and expertise with us. Next month, August the 22nd at 9 a.m., Lily will be presenting Holistic Cancer Recovery. So please plan to join us next month in August. Lily, thank you again so very much for your time. We'll be sending out those handouts to everybody. And if you have any questions, Lily shared how you can get a hold of her, and I am definitely here at Cancer Support Community Central Ohio. So thanks everybody, and Lily, have a wonderful month, and we'll see you in August.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great one, everybody.